Hello again. Carmen Ryder here.
Carmen Shocker here.
And Libra here back with another commentary.
Today we're going over someone who thinks deplatforming is a good option. Miss Deviant Crow. The video is titled, #Report Stone Toss. Pretty sure that's against YouTube TOS.
It is. Under the harassment and cyberbullying section, it says that one of the ways this rule is broken is by, and I quote, content that encourages abusive fan behavior, such as doxing, dogpiling, brigading, or off-platform targeting. I'm pretty sure this video falls under off-platform targeting.
Why do I get my fucking monetization taken away over a single edgy joke, but Deviant Crow gets to engage in targeted harassment?
Gotta love the thumbnail. That's the face of someone who is confidently in Kark. Anyways, let's get into it. Numbskull called he wants his logo back.
Today we're going to be covering Stone Toss, and from the get-go you might think that's a bit weird. Compared to the other people we covered, he's not as bad. I want to point out that comic creators like this are barely touched on.
I mean, all he does is make edgy comics, so there isn't much to talk about. Also, down there is someone's phone number. You might want to blur that out.
Like, my previous ones barely got a video on them, despite their somewhat popularity, and Stone Toss is an incredible example of that because he has over 100,000 followers, and yet rarely has any videos on him, which is a bit concerning considering the stuff he puts out.
I mean, who wouldn't love the based Amogus man?
Problem is, and the reason I'm covering him is because he has a lot of popularity, and yet he isn't covered enough. He isn't shamed enough.
Oh yes, how dare people not engage in targeted harassment like I'm doing.
And, you know, there's not exactly a movement to get him off Twitter.
Exactly. They shouldn't deplatform those we don't agree with.
Despite the fact that he breaks the rules of hateful misconduct.
Kind of like how you break the rules of targeted harassment.
And before anyone goes, oh, well, he makes fun of the right, too.
Wait a minute. Feathered face, funny beak, IQ of under 10, loud and noisy, smells spoiled fish on a hot summer's day, cross-eyed. This is no crow, that's a tanga!
But in all seriousness, when did this turn into a left-wing versus right-wing debate? I mean, both sides of the coin have spread hateful views at some point.
Yeah, I don't fucking care, though. He's still pushing out hateful views.
You mean dark humor?
He can start making fun of Trump a lot more, and it wouldn't matter if he's still pushing out comics with hateful views. So without further ado, let's get into Stone Toss.
Looks like we got another mushroom girl here.
One thing that's very clear from his comics is that he very much does go out of his way to attack the LGBTQ community.
You mean satirize?
This comic tries to say that, oh, if you're going to say blackface is offensive, what about women dressing up as women?
No, it's supposed to be irony in how the two subjects parallel in a dark-humored manner.
And before you whip your dick out and go, trans women aren't women.
We weren't gonna make that argument, however I'm sure Ryder would gladly whip her girl cock out, just ask nicely.
Ain't no way I'm fucking a tanga.
Damn, okay.
If I could have the floor for a moment, it's kind of funny how she suddenly strawmans her opponents as transphobic. Then again, do I expect anything else from a tanga?
Kindly put your dick back in your pants and we'll address you later. This comic tries to say that being trans is basically the same thing as wearing blackface, even though blackface has a history of being used to mock black people. Trans people don't.
You're right. We don't. But I have seen some of my kind make fun of Asians and Latinos before.
My entire career, everything that I've done has been about pushing boundaries. It has been about holding people accountable.
I just cussed that Asian bitch clean the fuck up.
Ooh, what was that? Was that this person being racist? Says Latino and Asian businesses need to stop. Oh, my bad. Need to. I'm typing like a boomer, I see. Need to stop being rude and fucking disrespectful. And I know it's a lot to ask in California, but speak fucking English. Yeah, I said it. Explain that.
They don't have the same equity.
This Asian nigga in Subway got a fat ass.
Okay, that's just flat out funny. #shake my
Fat Mexican piss blonde Miss Piggy looking bitch.
Another comic tries to say that it's kind of weird that LGBT people can have pride in their stuff, but MAGA can't.
Yeah, it's a double standard. If LGBT people can express their views and still be socially acceptable, then so can MAGA. It's only fair.
The thing is, people choose to adopt hateful views like the ones that are represented with MAGA.
You mean views you don't agree with?
The thing is, with gay people and LGBT people all around, is they don't choose to be in the way they are. And let's put up a hypothetical. Let's say same-sex attraction is a choice. That's still a stupid comparison here. Trump supporters support stuff that affects people in minorities.
No, they support stuff that affects absolutely no one, and SJWs use Trump as a scapegoat.
In a negative way. Thus, those views are bad. More or less not the views, but enacting on those views. And Trump supporters often enact on those views by speaking them out.
Speaking them out? You mean like how LGBT people do? I mean, what do you think pride parades are? People speaking out on their views.
Also, the alternative to the election wasn't much better. We don't need a war with Russia.
Another weird thing Stone Toss likes to preach on about is that when gay people have sex, they fuck through the butthole, so they must be fucking through shit. They must all have a shit fetish.
Shit fetish? No, it's a poop joke. That's all it is. A poop joke.
Obviously, this is ignoring the fact that most gay people clean out that area.
No shit, Sherlock. No one was making that claim. Pun intended. It's funny how people on the left say that BLM has no secret meaning, and people who think that are racist. But they see a fucking poop joke and think it's some political view.
Reminder again that we do not intend to make this a left-wing versus right-wing debate. We do not consider ourselves to be right-wing but rather right-leaning.
And if we use Stone Toss's argument fairly, technically straight sex could be seen as disgusting because you're fucking with your dicks and vaginas? Don't you know that's where pee comes from? What are you, a bunch of piss fetishists?
Piss comes from a separate hole from the vagina, so that argument is fucking stupid either way.
This one is probably like the worst one out of the bunch because it makes the flawed argument of saying people are often made gay because of trauma.
I mean, that's sometimes true. So how exactly is this a bad thing? He's just taking this fact and making it into a dark-humored comic.
If I may use myself as an example, back when I still believed myself to be a male, my mother would make me cry over incredibly stupid shit. Mainly through her yelling. And this wasn't typical parent yelling, it was like Daddy-O5 level yelling. I would then start crying and she would yell at me to man up. And in all honesty, I believe this probably contributed to my gender dysphoria. Sorry if that got all sad or anything, I just wanted to use myself as an example. Moving on.
You know, Stone Toss, for someone that likes to say that the LGBTQ community, they hate science, look at what they're doing. You seem to ignore the scientific evidence that gay people are born gay. Also, for someone that seems to be a die-hard biology fan, you kind of miss out on the fact that biology and gender are two different things.
The guy who separated the difference between sex and gender, John Money, was a guy who groomed two young boys to have sex with each other because of a botched circumcision. You really shouldn't take scientific advice from pedophiles. You might argue that a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Well, if gender and sex are different, then why do we need things like HRT? Why even have genital replacement surgery? It's just a social construct after all. Oh, not having those gives you dysphoria? It's almost as if those two things are the fucking same.
A blatant theme amongst these comic creators I've been covering for a while now is blatant anti-Semitism. Like, not even trying to be subtle most of the time, just mostly blatant. Now, we're only going to cover one of his anti-Semitic comics today, since we've pretty much, debunked the whole, Jewish people rule the world thing in a previous video.
Well, why not give us a refresher? Surely that would help your argument. Regardless, I can prove you wrong with one sentence. Susan Wojcicki is part Jewish. That may not seem like a much, but think about it. and a new trailer drops, where do you see it first? YouTube. Looking for specific news coverage. YouTube. Want to learn how to do something. YouTube. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Also, not wanting a single religion to control everything isn't bigoted. Let me give you an example. Most of, if not all of the Middle East, has their main religion be Islam. Anyone who isn't Islamic can be prosecuted and possibly killed. Now, by me saying that having Islam have a grip on the entire country, is that bigoted? No, not in the slightest. Even if it was my own religion, Catholicism, I wouldn't want to force it on the entire fucking nation.
But the reason I want to bring this up nonetheless is that this is a person that's very popular and has been going around on Twitter for a while, that's been posting blatantly anti-Semitic bullshit, and of course, he's yet to be taken down.
Yeah, political satire isn't against Twitter TOS.
This is a person with over 100,000 views, and he's posting hateful bullshit like this.
You mean satirical bullshit?
The fact that Stone Toss hasn't been kicked off Twitter for spreading comics with hateful views is kind of embarrassing.
The fact that he isn't kicked off Twitter yet gives me some hope for the world.
Now, I'm going to cover stuff that wouldn't necessarily get him banned off Twitter for breaking the rules.
Then why even mention it? Isn't this a video showcasing him breaking the rules? This is just derailing the topic, if anything.
But it's still quite oftenly stupid. More so, I'm pointing these out for the dumbasses who want to say, oh sure, he has a lot of bigoted views, but he makes a lot of great points as well.
So you derail your entire video just to debunk one argument.
No, he fucking doesn't.
Yes, he does.
For example, this one. How dare people in America, make criticisms with the people ruling their own country? What about other countries?
Not in the slightest. He's making the world doesn't revolve around you argument.
Or like how Antifa wants to abolish the police. That must mean they also want to abolish the justice system altogether.
Imagine unironically defending Antifa. Also, who the fuck do you think brings criminals to the justice system? Do police abuse their power sometimes? Yes, absolutely. But abolishing them completely would be stupid.
Even though, no, they want to abolish it and replace it. Slowly abolish it and replace it with a much better system.
Okay, care to tell us what that system is? You're not gonna? Okay.
This comic is about how the left likes to say that the right uses dog whistles.
No, it's saying that people often call small things like hand signs a problem when they do all of this crap, like burning shit and vandalization.
Multiple white nationalists have been trying to use that symbol or reappropriate it in a way that's racist. But, but look at them. They're blatantly open about their views.
Riots are not blatantly open. It's outright terrorism.
And look, I know that symbol isn't inherently racist, but racists have used it, mostly as a subtle way to say white power.
Looks like the B-tards fooled you too. I guess Tangas are as gullible as everyone in Angel Grove says they are.
This one tries to say that Planned Parenthood is racist because a lot of black people have abortions, even though that's not racist. Black people have a lot of abortions because, it's expensive to have a kid. And unlike white people, most black people do live in poverty.
Did you seriously just try to call us poor? Know about you, but that sounds like a racist generalization.
Yeah, that's... Wait, did you just say we?
Oh, you've never seen me without my demon look. See?
Huh. Never would have guessed girlfriend used to be a snow bunny.
Anyways, the point of it is irony. Ego being accused of not valuing the lives of minority groups, meanwhile minorities are often the ones to have abortions, which doesn't value the life of children.
This one tries to make fun of the leftists who want to identify as socialism and communists, but also want to say they're on the side of decency and basic human rights. But countries that have had those kind of systems have been evil. Let's just ignore the fact that those kind of countries also had dictatorships.
Yeah. And communism allowed those dictatorships to happen. Xi Jinping's father literally got rid of term limits in China. And guess what? China is pretty much a dictatorship now because Xi Jinping literally made a system that would basically make you an outcast for speaking against the government.
And the final one we're looking at today is this one, which basically points out how the communists, they don't want to work with the working class. They hate the working class because,
While Deviant Tanga tries to make a joke that isn't funny to begin with, let me tell you what this actually is. The comic is saying that both left and right-wing people are supportive of the working class, but most people on the left don't want to put differences aside to fight for a good cause that would help them both.
So for the rest of the video, Deviant Tanga tries to show the viewers how to false report Stone Toss, which, again, is targeted off-platform harassment. That's all for today. If you want more from me, you can watch my DeviantArt. If you want to support the channel, you can donate to my Patreon. If you want to talk to me directly, you can join my Discord server. And until next time, goodbye.
So am I. So am I. So am I.